This is the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast, episode 51.
Welcome to the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast with Ken Countess. Ken is an internationally recognized marketing expert. This podcast will give you tips on how to market your business more effectively than ever before to help you make more money, whether you're just starting out or have been in business for years. And now, here's Ken Countess.
Hey, welcome to the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast. I'm Ken Countess, and today I've got a really special guest. It's Marc Mawhinney. Marc is a coach, and I'll let you, Marc, describe exactly what your coaching business is all about. Marc is a fellow podcaster. I actually listened to a few of the episodes before we started recording this episode, which, by the way, is happening in the middle of September 2018. Marc's three podcasts include Natural Born Coaches, The Marc Mawhinney Show. I listened to his Email Marketing Every Day episode and the Riches Are in the Niches episode, and it's really great stuff. And he's also got the Marc Mawhinney Minute. And also checking out, doing a little bit of research before we got together on this video. If you're watching on YouTube, and if you're not watching, you can hear that Marc's also got a few programs, 10 clients in 90 days, the Secret Coach Club. I'm really intrigued about that one. And the Group Gold program. So Marc, welcome to the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Ken.
That's great to have you. Tell me, we'll talk about coaching and we'll focus in on email a little bit, but I'm curious, before doing what you do today, what was your last gig and why did you leave it?
My background's in real estate. So I did real estate throughout my 20s, starting when I was 21 and for about a decade. And I left it. It wasn't a voluntary choice. I went through a business closure. So
and that'll do it.
Not that any business closures, unless it's mom and pop who've been planning it for years, they tend to be messy if it's unplanned. And this one was no exception. And I end up, after a decade of really good years in real estate, end up going through two business closures in the span of a couple of years. And I just said, you know what? I got to do something else. This is the universe telling me maybe you should be doing something else. And what I did, I had to get help by several coaches and mentors. And going through that process and a few years out from real estate and stuff, I thought, you know what? I would like to help people as a coach as well. And that's where I started my coaching business in early 2014. And here we are today.
Here we are today, nearly 5 years later. So what excites you about what you're doing now?
Well, in a nutshell, I'm a coach who coaches coaches. And people look at me like I have two heads when I say that. But essentially, I'm a business coach, and I'm specifically helping other coaches with their businesses, getting more clients, and my things without paid advertising. So if those coaches don't want to spend thousands of dollars in Facebook ads and fancy funnels, all that stuff, I help them get more clients organically. And I always say that I want to be the Sam Phillips of the coaching industry. Now, anyone who doesn't know who Sam Phillips is, he's the guy that discovered Elvis Presley, basically. He had a Sun Records or down in Memphis, Tennessee, where Elvis walked in when he was an awkward kid with a funny name and no one thought much of him. And Sam Phillips gave him a chance, let him record a few songs, and look what happened, the king of rock and roll. So I like to say I'm looking for a bunch of Elvi, not Elvis's, Elvi, I think it's plural. I'm looking for a bunch of coaching Elvi, people who could do really well in this business, but they just need that start to get going. And it's really cool because there's a tremendous ripple effect. If I help, let's say I help you, Ken, and then you become the Tony Robbins of the coaching industry, I'm helping, yes, that's right. I'm helping a lot more people than I could probably touch if I was just doing something else. Like, nothing against people who coach bricks and mortar businesses and other stuff. They're doing a lot of good. But if I'm helping those coaches really get going, and those coaches are helping hundreds, thousands, millions of people, there's a really big ripple effect there. So that, in a nutshell, that's why I do what I do.
That's really cool. And one thing that I wanted to pick up on is I looked at your profile on the social media side before we connected, And you've got a huge following on Twitter. You've got a very sizable following on Facebook. You're doing pretty well on the other social channels too. And you made the comment that you don't pay for advertising. So would you share for a moment or two how you did that? How you got that huge following?
Good old-fashioned blood, sweat, and tears. I know that's not a really sexy answer. I wish I could share some sort of ninja tricks. It's just showing up every day and putting the work in. You know, Darren Hardy, formerly of Success Magazine, wrote the book The Compound Effect, and that's when I look at my success with my coaching business, it's really the compound effect. Doing it day in and day out. I've done, as you and I've chatted about, I've done daily emails to my list now, starting in spring of 2016. I started those. Never missed a day. They add up after a while, and that becomes content that can be shared elsewhere as well. So that's it. It's not the cool thing that people are selling. You know, hey, make 7 figures in 2 days, working 5 minutes a day with my secret magic funnel system, but in my experience, this is the way you have to do it. You have to show up every day, even if you don't feel like it some days, and it adds up. It compounds over time.
It sure does. And I think you hit the nail right on the head. Just show up every day and do it every day. You know, things that are rocket rides going up also have a tendency to come down twice as fast. Right?
Well, it's interesting because some people have hired me before, and I've discovered they've stalked me for a couple of years now. I don't mean stalking that they're hiding in my bushes or in an unmarked van out in the street. I hope not. But they've been stalking me online, following my stuff, and they just weren't ready yet, because not everyone is ready right today when they hear that message, right? There's a small percentage that are ready to open up their wallets and invest in a coach today. But there are people that have said to me, Mark, I've been following you since 2014, 2015, maybe it was 6 months ago. And then when they're finally ready to take action, they're seeing me every day, and that's just keeping me top of mind, and they're reaching out. So people will stalk you. It takes a little bit of time. And I think, unfortunately, nowadays, with all the gurus promising the instant riches and stuff, humans are impatient by nature, but they're even more so now, right? With the way things are with social media and with the gurus and the flashy promises, it's going to take some time. Now, with daily emails, for example, I found that it takes 30 days probably of doing it consistently, and then you'll start to see traction. At least in my experience, that's what I discovered, and with clients who I've gotten onto the whole daily email thing as well.
Yeah, you bring up a good point about how basically what you're doing is you're planting seeds, and at some point, you know, somebody who's on your list will wake up in the morning and say, you know, today's the day. I need to reach out to Marc.
I've had people say to me, I give up, because I will push at the tail end of for example, I have a print newsletter, Secret Coach Club, which you had mentioned in the beginning. And at the end of every single month, I put a very heavy push on, because it goes to the printer the first of the following month. So the last day of a month, people are probably sick of me talking about it, because I'm just I'm beating that drum really loud. Right. And I've had people say to me, I give up, Marc, because they just see the stuff all the time. Like, I give up. I got to see what this is about. I take the approach a lot like a casino. You know, with casinos, when you go to collect your winnings, if you're lucky enough to win, you go to the cage in the back of the casino. Good luck trying to get out. They're not going to make it easy to leave with that money in your pocket. There's not a straight line to the outdoors. Right. It's rows of slot machines that are in all different angles. You're like a rat in a little maze. They've got the sights, the sounds, the slot machines are making the noises. They got it's just really exciting scene, and it's difficult. It sounds funny, but it's difficult to get out there without bumping into something that's trying to take your money, leaving a casino. And I take that approach when it comes to my business and with my content. I want, ideally, Ken is in my Facebook group and on my email list and connected with me in other places, social media. You're hearing me on podcasts, and you're seeing me. You close your eyes at night and you see Marc standing there above your bed, not in a creepy way. So that's what I do. And you have to do that. It's that omnipresence, that you're everywhere, because online's a noisy place. If you're not doing that, if you're saying, no, I'm going to post once a week, that should be enough. No, that's not enough.
You know, I just read a study about 2 weeks ago by BuzzSumo that said that today, as compared to a few years ago, when it comes to social media, and specifically Facebook, that you need to be posting every single day on Facebook now Otherwise, you get lost in the
I
noise.
would say 3 to 4 times a day, which I know some people say that's crazy. I'm posting 10 times a day on Facebook. Now that includes my Facebook group, the Coaching Jungle, my personal profile, my fan page. I'm not suggesting people have to do 10 times a day, but I would almost say now that once a day is not even enough, because such a small percentage of your people are actually seeing what you're posting. It makes it very difficult. So that's changed a lot, just even from 2014 when I started. You could get away with a little bit less.
Right.
Now you have to be doing a lot more.
Yeah, we use marketing automation to make sure that we're always out there as you do. And by the way, I signed up for your email list today. I'm anxious to receive, and I'm looking forward to getting those emails every day. So I'd like to move into that area and talk a little bit about how you got to this notion of an email a day and what it's actually done for you and your business.
I had Ben Settle on my podcast back early 2016, and Ben is a big proponent of an email a day. That's what he's always encouraging people to do. And that's what pushed me to start with the email a day, because prior to that, I was doing what pretty much everyone else in online business does with their email list. I was sending out an email once a week, maybe 2 times a week, 2 times every 3 weeks. It wasn't consistent. And it was boring. I was afraid to take the filter off, and I didn't want to offend anybody. And I was a nice, polite Canadian, like I am, right? And I did 2 things besides starting to email daily. I committed that every morning, 7:30 a.m. Eastern time, that's when I was going to send out those emails. And by the way, some days I send out more, so don't get mad at me, Ken. Near the end of the month, you may hear from me a little more. Okay. But I did the daily emails. The second thing I did, which I think is really important, is I took the filter off and I said, I'm going to just say what I think. And, you know, if someone's offended by it, they want to unsubscribe, great. That frees up space for someone who's resonating with me a little more. Now, that being said, my mouth has gotten me into trouble, but I think overall it's helped me more than it's hurt me. And everything I do is designed to polarize people I don't want to work with. So I've had people get offended over the silliest stuff. You know how it is online in 2018. I chase them away. I don't want to work with them. And I don't throw darts at their picture on a dartboard and worry about it. I just say, good luck and see you later. But you can't worry about what other people are thinking. So daily emails, if you're doing a daily email that's just boring marketing speak, that may not work as well. I think you have to combine it with my emails. You'll see when you get them, I tell a story, or I give a lesson or something, and then it transitions to a call to action every single email without fail. But I'm giving enough value in there that people are cool with that, because it's not just buy my. Can I swear on here, or do you edit or no?
I will if I need to.
It's not just buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit. So, or crap. We'll say crap.
Buy your bleep, buy your bleep, buy your bleep.
Sorry. Crap. I should have said crap. A 4-letter word gets a point across, but it's not just buy my crap.
You could start. We'll do a quick edit. Go ahead and say it in the way that you want to say it.
Oh no, that's so I think besides emailing daily, you have to invite people, take the next step with you. It's not going to do anything if you don't give a call to action and if you don't invite people, but you also can't just send an email that's just buy my stuff, like an infomercial. You have to combine that, make them entertaining, make people want to read them. I always remember a saying that Josh Bernoff said in one of his books, and he said that the iron imperative for writing is to treat your reader's time as more valuable than your own. So I try to think to myself, okay, is this email worth Ken's time to open and read? If not, I got to go back to the drawing board.
Excellent. So let's touch for a moment on the one fact. I teach a lot of classes on email marketing, and so often I get the deer in the headlights, the person who says, I have no idea what to write. What's your inspiration when it comes to writing an email every day? Where do you get your inspiration from?
I get it everywhere. I do a lot of pop culture references, and I tie it into business. So there could be things that I see. Websites are great, news sites. You get tons of ideas there if you've got your radar up. And the more you write them, your radar will be up. So there's blogs, news sites, television. If I'm watching a movie, this is probably a bad habit, but every single movie, TV show that I'm watching, my business radar is up. So a few years back with an ex-girlfriend, she made me watch a chick flick. What was it? Julie and Julia, or whatever, the cooking one with Meryl Streep.
Okay.
Which is pretty much, that's torture for most men in a relationship to have to watch 2 hours of a cooking movie. But I discovered there was a business lesson in there. I turned it into a blog post, I think an email too, with it. So I also get my ideas from client stories. Now, of course, you have to keep confidentiality in mind with that, but things that are happening in my life and my client's life or so on. So the cool thing is when you create more content, when you're doing daily emails, it will get easier to create more content. Just like working out at the gym, you're working your content creation muscles the more that you do it.
Great. Well, we mentioned a few moments ago about the fact that you've got a large following on Twitter and Facebook, and you've got a strong presence on LinkedIn and Instagram. How do you use them, and have you been able to monetize them?
Well, Facebook's my big one. Besides email marketing, and podcasts, of course, Facebook for social media is where I get most of my business. I'm not an Instagram guy, although I am there and I'll post once or twice a week. I'm not the type to be doing duck lips or selfies on the beach or anything like that. Hey, here's the bagel I had this morning or whatever. Instagram's more just promoting my podcast. You know, Twitter is interesting. I've been on Twitter since 2009 and I've got, I think, almost 60,000 people on there, but I don't get, I view Twitter differently. I view Twitter more for ideas for content creation, conversation, to test different things out, more so than I could probably count in a year how many clients, on one hand, how many clients I get directly from Twitter. Maybe two hands, but it's not as much as Facebook.
Great. Well, would you say, Mark, that there's a sweet spot for where one type of marketing makes sense for some businesses? And let's use coaching as an example, comparing it to other businesses.
I always say when you're choosing which social media to focus on, because you got to focus on one of them. I would say, not saying it's impossible to build a business without social media, but obviously it's a lot easier. But I would say focus on one that you enjoy. So for example, if you don't like pictures, images and stuff, then Instagram's not your place, right? If you don't like talking in 140 characters, and I think it's 280 now, they bumped it up, but don't go on Twitter. Twitter is a real Wild West, as you know.
It is.
So first of all, you have to enjoy whichever one you choose, because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to consistently do it. You'll find excuses not to do it. The second half of that cookie is it has to work, right? So there's no sense beating your head against the wall. And that's what I say to clients all the time. Let's say, for example, that you really enjoy sticking your head out the window and yelling at passersby saying, hire me, hire me. It might be great that you're ecstatic about it and you can't wait to get your head out the window. It's your favorite thing you do every day. It's probably not the best use of your time. You're probably not going to get that ROI. So you have to enjoy it, but it also has to give you ROI as well.
Great. So who's an ideal client for you?
Ideal client for me, I mean, I have, I think, 5 main criteria. Things like they have to be an action taker. I absolutely hate people who procrastinate. And in the old days, I used to throw them, not literally, figuratively throw them up over my shoulder and carry them across the finish line. I don't like doing that. So they have to be an action taker, not procrastinate. They have to have big goals, not to knock people who have small goals, but if a coach hires me and they want to make, you know, an extra couple $100 a month and work with the odd client here and there or whatever, that's not really exciting for me to get out of bed. They have to respect my boundaries. I don't want a client who's like Bill Murray in What About Bob, where with Richard Dreyfuss, you know, and I have actually had clients like that before in the early days where they send a message, they expect an answer and within 2 minutes, or they treat you like Google, something that could be Googled. They're sending their coach that question. It's like, I don't want that type of person. And they have to pay me what I'm worth and on time. That's another important one as well. So those are some of the main criteria I look at for clients.
That's great. So tell the audience, folks that are listening, how can people best reach you? And this is your shameless promo or a plug.
Sure. Naturalborncoaches.com. That's the main site. The Facebook group is at thecoachingjungle.com. That will forward you there. And those are I'm in the Facebook group every day, by the way. I will mention with my main website, there's an ebook for anyone interested in coaching. If they're a coach or an aspiring coach, they can get it for free by opting in there. And that's the real ABCs of a successful coaching business. So that one's at naturalborncoaches.com.
And I downloaded it, and it really is a great piece of work.
Oh, thank you.
Download, yeah. So take advantage of that, everybody. So Marc Mawhinney, thanks so much for joining me today on the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast, and I look forward to the next time we chat.
Thanks, Ken.
Talk to you soon. Hey, that's it for this week's episode. Don't forget to check out our brand new Email Marketing Online Academy. It's www.marketyourbusiness.co/email-academy. That's where you'll find out more. Check out all of our episodes of the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast. It's on our website, marketyourbusiness.co. Look for the podcast tab, and there you'll find all previous episodes. And while you're on our website, don't forget to check out all the other resources and sign up for our weekly newsletter too.
Thanks for listening to the Market Your Business Like a Pro podcast with Ken Countess. Be sure to visit marketyourbusiness.co to access show notes, discover our fantastic content, and sign up for our mailing list. Have questions? Send Ken an email, ken@thecountessgroup.com, or Twitter @CountessGroup. See you next time. If you need help with this or anything else related to marketing your business, reach out to us.